G'day, my name is Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm the author of 6 books about raising happy families and the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. Oh, and I'm also a dad to 6 daughters. I'm partnering with the Boarding Schools Expo to answer your questions about sending kids to boarding school. In our last conversation, we talked about how to decide whether boarding school is right for your child or not, and also how to pick a specific boarding school that will be the most right for your child. Today's question: what are the most important factors to consider when choosing a boarding school? Now, if you'll recall, in our previous video, I talked about making sure that we've got friends, we've got the philosophy, and we're having fun. So we've got a nice fit and paying less attention to resources, results, and reputation. But I want to consider a couple of other things really quickly in this conversation about the factors to consider when choosing a boarding school. First, a couple of important facts. Number one, there is no right choice. And this is a mutually exclusive choice. When you choose one, you therefore do not choose, must exclude all of the others. Now that seems so unfair because you don't want to go chopping and changing schools. It feels like there's a lot of pressure. But I remember my family moved to Brisbane a number of years ago. And over the course of the next 4 years, we sent our children to 4 different schools. The first school that they went to was the local Christian school. We'd had a good experience in our previous city and decided that we'd do that. It didn't work out well for the family. The second school was the fancy private school down the road with the reputation, the results, and the resources. It wasn't a good fit. The third one was a kind of an independent alternative school, and that was the worst of the lot, until finally we said, "What do you think, kids?" And we actually left it up to them. One of the kids went back to the Christian school. She was the only one that had been happy there. One of them went to the local high school, the free one down the road. She's never been happier. And the other 2, well, they were in primary school, so we made that decision for them. We sent them to the local primary school, and that's worked out pretty well. So I guess what I'm highlighting there is no right choice, but the more likely right choice is the one that your children decide on. The second thing to also bear in mind is that there's no perfect school for any child. Every school will have its strengths, and every school will have its weaknesses. So what is important? Well, that comes down to you and your child and the preferences that you each have. You might want to consider how big the classes are. You might consider what your child's strengths are. What kind of pastoral care or well-being options are there? The level of supervision and the way that they discipline. Let me go over them briefly to tell you what I mean. When it comes to class size, I know of some boarding schools who have big classes. They cater for groups up to around about 25 to 30. I'm aware of a couple of boarding schools who tend to have class sizes around about 15 to 18. And in fact, some of them are only 12. That works for that school. That's their model, and that's what they've gone with. What's going to work better for your child? In terms of strengths, if you've got an academically gifted child, sending them to the school that's known for drama or that's known for sport is probably not going to be the best fit. They're not going to have the most fun there. And so we want to consider what lights our children up. In relation to pastoral care and well-being, there will be times for most children who board where they have struggles. And because you're not present for them, they need to have exceptional pastoral care leaders, well-being leaders that can help them. But not every child needs that. Not every child wants to open up to the teachers, the strangers, the not my parents, people who are in their environment. So we need to be mindful of what our child's needs are. Every boarding school has a different policy on both discipline and supervision, and you want to get the best information that you can so that you can make a decision that works for you. All of this matters because your child is, I guarantee, at some point going to struggle to fit in. Your child is going to miss you and may have other challenges as well. Your child's probably going to have to deal with a lot of rules, more rules at boarding school than they usually have to deal with at home. And your child is never going to have a space like they have at home where they can properly relax. They're always going to be on show. Like I said, we want to focus on friends, fun, and philosophy, not resources, results, and reputation. And hopefully these ideas will help you as you consider the best boarding school to send your child to. I'm going to be back again soon with another Boarding Schools Expo video. My name's Dr. Justin Coulson.